The trauma of the assault has taken a toll on my mental health. Why at Cassie's most vulnerable moment in her courtroom battle against Diddy did 50 Cent suddenly emerge as her unexpected ally, a man with no direct tie to the lawsuit, no close bond with Cassie, and once regarded as a mere provocator on the fringes of Diddy's orbit. When did he transform from a mocking bystander into the bearer of pivotal evidence? Is this merely a vendetta between two titans of hip-hop, or does a hidden hand, a clandestine link between Cassie and 50 Cent orchestrate this move? And why, when 50 Cent steps into the fray, does Quincy Kim Porter's son offer a subtle smile as their eyes meet? The statement is something from the intelligence written by a lawyer. There's a point where it kind of gets aggressive. Was it merely a fleeting emotion or the hint of a covert deal long in the making? What does that fleeting glance signify, and is 50 Cent truly the key figure determining Diddy's fate, or is he just a pawn in a meticulously orchestrated game? Join us as we trace every clue, for this story isn't just about Cassie and Diddy. It's about the real reason 50 Cent chose to step forward as an unexpected witness at the trial. More crucially, who is the mastermind pulling the strings behind this enigmatic curtain? The air outside Manhattan's federal courthouse today crackled with tension as throngs of onlookers swarmed, eager for the latest twist in the trial of Sean Diddy. Combs reporters, protesters, and Diddy's loyal supporters packed the sidewalks, prompting a bolstered security presence to rein in the chaos inside. The trial entered its third grueling week. Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former girlfriend, concluded 4 days of wrenching testimony, accusing the rap mogul of physical abuse and coercing her into sordid freak-off gatherings. Other witnesses corroborated her claims, testifying they personally saw Diddy strike Cassie in 2009. Prosecutors plan to call more voices, close friends and family of Cassie, to the stand. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team with icy precision dismantled the prosecution's video evidence, branding it devoid of timestamps or clear context, leaving Cassie on shaky ground. Diddy remains in custody, facing the specter of life imprisonment. If convicted, the public watches riveted as each development unfolds. Beneath the pallid glow of the courtroom lights, a stifling tension hung in the air, pierced by the jury's piercing gazes and the crowd's hushed murmurs. Cassie Ventura, 8 months pregnant, her long hair cascading freely, stood before the jury, her hands clasped tightly to mask their trembling. Her face bore the weight of exhaustion, her eyes red-rimmed yet resolute. As if confronting a torrent of anguish memories, she recounted her decade-long entanglement with Sean Diddy Combs, her voice soft but unwavering, each word laden with the scars of years spent under his dominion. Cassie shared through choke sobs, "I met him when I was just 20, a young girl brimming with dreams, believing he would guide me to success, but I soon realized I was no longer free. He controlled everything from the songs I sang, the clothes I wore, to the people I was allowed to meet. He forced me into acts I despised, acts that betrayed my conscience. If I resisted, threatened violence against me or my family would pay the price." So talking about how at times when she would be in the middle of her freak-offs she might have to vomit, and then Sean Combs would still force her to participate in the freak-offs even though she was very, very ill. To substantiate her allegations, Cassie laid bare the chilling details of the freak-off party's clandestine gathering she was coerced into attending. "He demanded I show up at those events," she said, her voice quivering yet unflinching. "I didn't want to, but he warned I'd pay a steep price for defiance. Once he gripped my wrist, his eyes cold as steel, and hissed, 'You think your family will stay safe if you disobey me?'" She paused, her gaze sweeping the courtroom as if reliving that harrowing moment. To bolster her testimony, she introduced a covertly recorded video capturing fragments of the debauched freak-off parties and other illicit swear she claimed egregious acts unfolded. "This is a glimpse of what I endured," she declared, her eyes scanning the jury with quiet resolve. On the courtroom's large screen, the footage flickered to life, shadowy figures swayed in the pulsating glow of an opulent room, electronic music throbbing beneath a cacophony of laughter and indistinct voices. The images were hazy, revealing only silhouettes with faces and details shrouded in ambiguity. Cassie insisted that though imperfect, this video was a testament to the coercion and manipulation she suffered, her gaze red-rimmed but steadfast, locked onto the jury, a silent plea that they would believe the torment she had survived. "And so now you've got the cycle of violence where you have a violent incident, then I would assume, 'cause that's usually how it goes, the perpetrator, Diddy in this case, would be like, 'I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Oh my gosh, the flowers, the jewelry, all the other things, I really love you, this is never going to happen again.' And of course the survivor, because they are in love with the person, continues in the relationship." Cassie pressed on, her voice gathering strength as she recounted a haunting exchange. "One night at a white party in 2009, during one of those gatherings, I tried to resist," she said, her gaze distant, lost in memory. "I told him, 'San, I don't want to do this, it's wrong.' He stared at me, silent for a few agonizing seconds, then replied, You don't get to choose, Cassie. If you want your family safe, you'll do as I say. When I still shook my head, he seized my wrist, squeezing so hard I thought it might snap. He whispered, "Don't test me, I had no choice." Her testimony cast a chilling hush over the courtroom, silencing the crowd's faint murmurs. Cassie bowed her head, her hands trembling as if reliving that moment's terror, threat of violence or humiliation. The way that they say Sean Diddy's legal team, armed with razor-sharp acumen, launched a swift counterattack. Attorney Richard Hayes rose, his voice ringing with chilling clarity, his gaze sweeping the jury with a honed, unyielding confidence. "Ventura's allegations are baseless," he declared, his eyes scanning the jurors with the polished assurance of decades in the courtroom. "This video holds no legal weight, lacking timestamps, clear resolution, or any discernible context. It could depict any party anywhere. How do we know it wasn't manipulated to smear my client?" He stepped closer to the jury, his tone lowering but brimming with gravitas. "Miss Ventura speaks of terrifying conversations, yet offers no witnesses, no tangible evidence to corroborate her claims. Why didn't she leave sooner if these accusations were true? Or is this merely a fabricated tale spun for personal vengeance, or to profit from Mr. Combs' fame?" Hayes pivoted toward Cassie, his gaze piercing like a blade. "Miss Ventura, you claim my client threatened your family. Do you have a single text recording or shred of proof to substantiate that?" The razored question made Cassie press her lips tightly, her eyes flickering with a fleeting tremor as if cornered under the courtroom's unrelenting scrutiny. While he was more fidgety than he was the day before, he was passing notes. He pushed himself away from the defense table and largely sat like that. They never seemed to make eye contact with one another, not even after she was crying about having loved him once and planning and participating in these freak-off at the defendant's table. Diddy maintained a veneer of composure, but subtle gestures betrayed his unease. Clad in a sleek black suit, his hair neatly cropped, he leaned forward, whispering urgently to his attorney, his hand gripping a pen so tightly that his knuckles blanched beneath the poised facade. He couldn't mask his disco, a flash of anger flickering in his eyes. Accustomed to commanding every scenario, he now sensed a threat that neither wealth nor influence could easily quell. As his lawyer tore into Cassie's testimony, a faint smile curled his lips, not one of triumph but a strained attempt to conceal his dread. Yet from the gallery, his mother, Janice, a silver-haired matriarch with her hair neatly pinned, cast a glance heavy with unspoken disappointment. She bowed her head, her trembling hands betraying a silent struggle with doubts about her son. Justin, Diddy's tall, youthful son, watched his father with eyes clouded by a tangle of worry and suspicion. The courtroom air grew thicker, stifling murmurs rippled through the crowd, while the jury, their gazes keen yet guarded, seemed to weigh each word with meticulous care. Cassie, under the crushing weight of scrutiny, bore a look of profound isolation. But then the courtroom door swung open and a ripple of disruption swept through the room. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson strode into the courtroom, his presence commanding his piercing gaze, sweeping the room with unyielding resolve. Clad in a sharp dark suit, his arrival was like a gale slicing through the stifling air, plunging the chamber into a stunned silence. Diddy's eyes narrowed, his pulse quickening. He recalled 50 Cent's barbed social media jabs, but never imagined his rival would plunge into this fray. Janice lifted her head, her expression wavering between bewilderment and suspicion. 50 Cent stood tall, his voice resonating with a calm but formidable weight. "I'm here for the truth," he declared, his gaze sweeping the room before lingering briefly on Diddy. "Justice isn't a commodity to be bartered, and I won't stand by while the innocent are trampled just because someone believes they can manipulate everything." He announced he possessed an original crystal-clear R video complete with timestamps and precise context, bolstering Cassie's own footage. The video unveiled an opulent room adorned with crimson velvet walls and the shimmer of crystal chandeliers, yet an undercurrent of unease permeated the scene, betrayed by the trembling wine glasses clutched in the guests' hands. The atmosphere grew increasingly distorted as the figures' movements took on a simmering disco. They glided through the space, not rhying but as if performing a grim ritual amid the pulsating throb of electronic music. A deep commanding voice suddenly tore through the air, "No one leaves until I say so." 50 Cent leaned forward, his gaze fixed on the screen, unshaken. A subtle nod passed over his features, not one of shock but of quiet affirmation, as if confirming a truth he had long held in silence. His understated demeanor, devoid of theatrics, spoke volumes to the courtroom. He wasn't merely a witness, he was here to shatter the veil of secrecy. Then a woman's voice emerged, soft, trembling, choked with dread. "I don't want to stay." The sound stilled the entire courtroom. Cassie bowed her head, her shoulders quivering, her hands clenched so tightly her knuckles blanched. In that fleeting moment no one could look away. The truth had stepped out of the shadows, not with a roar but with its sheer undeniable presence. Suddenly, slam, a door in the video crashed shut. A loud, protracted laugh erupted as if someone sought to smother fear with dominance, but that laughter didn't eclipse the truth, it only made it more chilling. 50 Cent turned to face the bench, his eyes razor sharp, signaling that this video was merely the opening act. A greater secret loomed, poised to be unveiled. Yep, which is a documentary about P. Diddy. Puff Daddy P. Diddy. Did he do it right? This is, I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it, we did it, and I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually, oh, you've been saying this for a long time now, and then no one was, there just, why is he saying this, and now it's coming out like crazy. I mean, but I also didn't participate, I also didn't go too far. Every eye in the courtroom fixed on Curtis 50 Cent Jackson as he drew from his briefcase a weathered leather journal, its frayed cover rumored to belong to Kim Porter, the late wife of Sean Diddy. Combs with a composed demeanor but a gaze sharp as a blade, he opened the diary, its yellowed pages trembling faintly in his hands. Kim's quivering handwriting seemed to pulse with the anguish of her tormented days. He read aloud, his voice deep and deliberate, each word sinking into the hearts of those present. I don't know how much longer I can endure. He controls everything, what I say, who I see, how I live. I'm terrified, but for my children I must hide it. He paused, his eyes locking onto the jury, his tone softening yet heavy with Kim's pain. She tried to speak, but no one listened. Today we must hear her. A profound silence enveloped the courtroom, broken only by the faint breaths of the crowd. Janice Combs, Diddy's mother, sat in the gallery, her hands clasped tightly, her eyes betraying a restless unease as if Kim's words were unearthing doubts she had long sought to bury. Quincy, Kim Porter's son, his youthful face shadowed by sorrow, gripped his hands tightly, his eyes glistening with emotion as though his mother's spirit was reborn through each scrolled line. Diddy's attorney sprang to his feet, voice sharp with indignation. These so-called proofs are wholly unverified. This journal could be a forgery, and Mr. Jackson clearly harbors personal animosity toward my client. This is nothing but a calculated smear against Mr. Combs. Unfazed, 50 Cent countered, his voice low but cutting like a blade. The truth doesn't need permission from those desperate to hide it. His words pierced the fog of doubt like a beacon, igniting the courtroom. Scattered but fervent applause erupted from the gallery, an irrepressible wave of support. Several jurors nodded subtly, their eyes sharpening with intrigue, as if drawn deeper into the revelations 50 Cent had unleashed. Cassie, standing in the corner, felt a shift within her. Mere hours ago, dread had enveloped her, her testimony teetering under the fear that Diddy's razor-sharp legal team would shred her words. She had trembled while presenting the freak-off video, haunted by the thought that it might fall short, that her years of coercion and threats would be buried beneath the avalanche of skepticism. But now, with 50 Cent's unexpected alliance, a newfound strength surged within her. The pristine video complete with Diddy's damning audio, and now Kim's journal shone like rays breaking through a long darkness, rekindling her belief that the truth might finally be heard. She looked at 50 Cent, her eyes shimmering with gratitude. As he glanced back, his faint smile was a silent vow. She was no longer fighting alone at the defendant's table. Did's customary composure unraveled, his eyes narrowed, jaw clenched, a volatile mix of rage and fear flashing in his gaze as Kim's journal entries echoed through the courtroom. He had once believed himself untouchable, shielded by his empire of power and a cadre of high-priced attorneys, as he always had been. But this journal, coupled with the earlier video, struck like daggers, piercing the fortress of his carefully curated reputation. Leaning forward, he hissed urgently to his lawyer, discredit this now, I don't want it before the jury. Another second, his fist tightened, his glare slicing toward 50 Cent, brimming with undisguised hostility. For the first time, he sensed the weight of secrets he thought forever buried, and he knew 50 Cent wasn't here to play games. In an unexpected instant, a fleeting yet profoundly meaningful moment unfolds. 50 Cent, his gaze toward Quincy, Kim Porter's son, seated in the front row. Quincy, his eyes tinged with sorrow yet resolute, returns a faint smile so subtle it nearly escapes notice. That brief smile, though ephemeral, carries a quiet empathy, as if the two share an unspoken secret known only to them. The moment draws the attention of a few in the courtroom, their curious glances lingering. Could there be something greater concealed behind the evidence? Might Quincy, as Kim's son, hold further clues to unravel the mystery? As the courtroom adjourns, reporters swarm around 50 Cent, peppering him with questions about the origins of the diary and the video. With a cryptic smile, he deflects, offering only, the truth always finds its way. His enigmatic words ignite a frenzy among the public on platforms like X. The hash who gave the evidence surges, fueling fervent speculation. Many believe only someone intimately close to Kim Porter could have accessed her diary after her passing. Among the names whispered, Quincy emerges as a compelling figure. As Kim's son with singer Albsher, Quincy grew up in the orbit of Diddy's household, under the same roof as the mogul. If anyone had the opportunity to witness or gather evidence of Diddy's Alleged misdeeds. Quincy would be the prime candidate. His deep bond with his mother coupled with a clear distance from his stepfather sparks questions. Could Quincy be quietly orchestrating something from a young age? Quincy was a sensitive soul navigating the complexities of Diddy's family dynamics. He adored his mother Kim, who was his emotional anchor. Kim, a model and actress, strove to shield her children from the strains of her turbulent relationship with Diddy, yet Quincy, even as a boy, couldn't miss the cracks in their facade. He once caught his mother weeping quietly in the living room, her eyes clouded with worry when Diddy's name arose. On nights when Kim slipped out of the mansion returning with a weary expression, an unspoken unease settled in Quincy's heart. Be strong, his mother would urge him. He later shared in a rare interview, his voice heavy with sorrow. He chose silence, unwilling to burden her and their blended family, but that obedience came at a steep cost. A psychological shadow grew as he suppressed questions about his mother's happiness. As he matured, Quincy began to glimpse the darker corners of Diddy's world. The infamous freak-off parties, heated arguments, and rumors of manipulative behavior filled him with dread. He gradually distanced himself, moving to Los Angeles and reconnecting with his biological father Alpshore, who encouraged him to reclaim his identity. The greatest blow came in 2018 when Kim's sudden death, attributed to pneumonia, shattered his world. At 27, Quincy couldn't reconcile it. A vibrant woman like his mother gone so abruptly left an unfillable void. He harbored suspicions that her death wasn't as simple as reported, a sentiment bolstered when Alpshore publicly called for a renewed investigation. Al hinted on X that Kim might have held dangerous secrets, yet every attempt to probe further met invisible resistance, as if blocked by an unseen force. Quincy, powerless against the obscured truth, felt he had failed to protect his mother. Cassie Venter's testimony against Diddy emerges as a beacon in Quincy's shadowed world, illuminating a path to unearth the secrets his mother carried to her grave. Yet Quincy knows he cannot act openly. Raised in Diddy's household, he is acutely aware of his stepfather's formidable power. From his razor-sharp legal team to his vast network of influence, a single misstep could cost him everything, or worse, imperil his safety. So he opts for discretion, seeking out 50 Cent, a man who has fearlessly clashed with Diddy and never backed down. Quincy recognizes that only 50 Cent, with his audacity and clout, can unveil the evidence without being silenced. Their meeting unfolds in secrecy within the confines of a Los Angeles apartment, far from prying eyes. Quincy arrives clutching a small box discovered in the basement of Diddy's mansion. He had stumbled upon the hiding spot by chance one late night while still living with the family. At 3 a.m., he glimpsed Diddy furtively carrying a box to the basement. His eyes wary curiosity battled fear, and Quincy dared not investigate. Then, only after Kim's passing, while sifting through her keepsakes, did he muster the courage to return. Inside the box, he uncovered Kim's diary, its trembling handwriting chronicling control and fear, alongside a hard drive containing a video of a heated 2017 argument between Kim and Diddy. In it, Kim's voice quivers yet holds firm. "You can't keep hiding this." The evidence ignites a fire in Quincy, compelling him to act. Handing the box to 50 Cent, Quincy implores him to support Cassie and expose the truth. He seeks neither fame nor personal gain. His drive springs from love for his mother and a burning quest for justice. Quincy wants Diddy held accountable, not just for the wrongs against Cassie, but for the years of anguish his mother endured. Beyond that, he hopes the case will captivate the public, creating a groundswell to reopen questions surrounding Kim's death. He believes that if Diddy's truth is laid bare, public pressure might force authorities to revisit the mystery shrouding his mother's passing. Yet Quincy treads carefully. He avoids the courtroom, shuns interviews, and maintains silence on X, steering clear of becoming Diddy's target. In the courtroom, the fleeting glance exchanged between 50 Cent and Quincy is more than a moment of empathy. It's a subtle signal of a meticulously crafted plan. The prosecutor, without naming Quincy, hints that the evidence stems from someone deeply entwined with Diddy's family. A chilling inscription on the hard drive for her matches the handwriting in Kim's diary, sending shivers through the audience. Speculation swirls that Quincy, bearing the weight of his mother's loss, quietly supplied the evidence on X. Some rally behind the Quincy's truth, suggesting he's playing a high-stakes game, not for wealth but for justice. Diddy's legal team swiftly counters, dismissing the box as unauthentic and accusing 50 Cent of manipulating the jury's emotions. Yet their argument falters as text messages on the drive align with Diddy's call history, a detail only an insider could access. Though absent, Quincy's presence permeates every facet of the case. His silence is not weakness but patience, awaiting the moment when the evidence becomes undeniable. He knows a direct confrontation with Diddy is impossible, but through 50 Cent and Cassie, he can shake the foundations of his stepfather's empire. Beneath Quincy's motives lies a profound story, a son striving to honor his mother's legacy, confront evil, and prevent others from suffering as she did. He refuses to let dark secrets remain buried under the weight of power. As the court recesses, Diddy's gaze wavers as if he begins to suspect betrayal within his own family. Outside, the crowd buzzes, dissecting Quincy's role. A post on X declares Quincy says nothing, but his actions scream the truth. In a Los Angeles apartment, Quincy sits in silence, clutching a photo of Kim, his eyes resolute. He knows he's wagered everything but for his mother, for justice, and for the voiceless, oppressed, and threatened. He is ready. The case against Sean Diddy Combs, propelled by the staggering evidence from Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, transcends mere legal wrangling to become a saga of courage confronting truth. The trembling words in Kim Porter's diary and the resolute gaze of Cassie Venter reveal that silence, however prolonged, cannot forever conceal wounds from the shadows of pain. Voices like Cassie's have risen not for fame but for a fervent desire to defend what is right. Their defiance in the face of overwhelming power sparks a glimmer of hope capable of shaking walls once thought impregnable. This narrative stirs reflection on the potency of honesty and empathy. It serves as a poignant reminder that in the most stifling circumstances, a single moment of sincerity, like the shared glance of those bold enough to stand, can illuminate the path to justice.